Okay, we're gonna do the thing.
I love doing the thing.
Welcome to Valinaria Chronicles, Episode 4, Concerning the Halfling. I'm your Dungeon Master, Joseph Dunlap. With me, we've got Logan playing Fredegar Halfling Bard.
Good evening, everyone.
Don't forget to hit A to talk.
Press A to talk.
uh, we we always start each episode with a recap, but the interesting thing here is we've gone all the way back to the 17th of Pelaros. The significance of that is that our first session took place on the 19th of Pelaros, and we are going back because we have introduced a character named Fredegar. Does he have a nickname? Does anyone call him Fatty, or is that offensive to Fredegar?
I think canonically he is affectionately referred to as Fatty.
Maybe it's not because of his size either.
Wink, wink.
Oh, geez, Logan. Okay. um, we introduced Fredegar last week, and he was somewhat involved in a heist of sorts. But we are going to go back now, and we're going to figure out what Fredegar was up to before we found him in Trapper's Camp in episode 3, and he joined up with the team who was in the process of trying to steal something from some guy named Alpheus that no one in Trapper's Camp likes. So that's where we are. We are 2 days prior to episode 1, the 17th of Pelaros. And here we are in the Badlands if you are on the stream. It is inhospitable to many. It is home to many trappers and traders who travel through here. And of course, some highwaymen and other ne'er-do-goods?
Believe it's ne'er-do-wells.
Ne'er-do-wells, yes. People who don't do good things. And here you are, Fredegar, traveling across the Badlands all by yourself. Do you have any idea why Fredegar has decided that he is going to travel through the Badlands to Trapper's Camp?
What I really think is that he's looking for opportunity. He's looking to strike it out on his own, and might have heard something about opportunities being available for trappers. And so, seeing as I'm a bard and I can use my magic loot. Sorry, I can use my magic loot to influence situations. I figure that might be a pretty sweet gig for me.
Your magic loot? Like a piece of enchanted armor? Or a special sword? That kind of loot?
No, a stringed instrument. It's for the cultured.
And what sort of songs do you play on your lute?
Really, only classic rock. In universe, they come off a lot cleaner. It's a little more bardcore. So
Bardcore.
it's never just a one for one, but
You aren't bardcore unless you live bardcore.
I figure it's like a catchy "Devil Went Down to Georgia" version of whatever song I happen to be playing.
Oh, snap, I like it. So you were traveling around hoping to do good with your magical instrument?
Something like that.
Okay, so we're going to establish something real quick, that you are traveling from the Dwarven Mountains. There is a Dwarven city in the center of the mountains that is the home of many Dwarven and Gnomish crafters. It is called Smithame. You are traveling from Smithame on a courier mission. It is a great way for travelers to make money, and there are not very many people making use of this. There's not very many couriers either. This is a new idea. And the idea is that certain people are contracted to deliver either individual large parcels or a handful of letters and things like that from one location to the next. Your mission is taking you into the middle of the province of Had, which is where you are headed. And pretty much any major city in the province of Had is a fine place to drop it off, where a local courier can take it from there. Kind of like how if you live in a smaller city, such as where I live, all your mail is stamped in a location that's about an hour's drive away from you. So that is what you are doing right now. You have a satchel of parcels, or would it be a parcel of satchels? It's a lot of letters. You've got a lot of letters, Logan. And you are traveling through the Badlands. It is rightfully inhospitable, considering it's right next to a mountain range. You are traveling east, and you know that Trapper's Camp is about a day's travel from you, and it is midday right now.
I might be checking areas on the way for resources. Being a halfling, I do still have a natural love for things that grow, so I might be looking out for exotic vegetation that I might not be able to find otherwise.
I do have a question for you. What was your upbringing?
Mostly agricultural. Um,
Were you among other halflings?
Yes.
Okay. That makes it a lot easier for me to sort of place all of this when you're talking about your background and nature and everything. Blah, 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 pointy ears, nature. Because halflings travel a lot of times in nomadic tribes. So it may not be that you've been to the Badlands before, but you were raised very accustomed to traveling all the time. And
right, I'm used to being on the road.
I'm sorry?
It's like I'm used to being on the road already.
Yes, and occasionally there are some tribes that will pass through the Badlands, although not that often, because it is inhospitable and because they have to travel through a desert to get out of the Badlands, and also because there are orc tribes in a proximity to that desert. So this is hotter than you're used to, but it is not. You're not unfamiliar with being able to travel on your own.
Okay, I see.
So if you want to make a search for natural resources, you could make a survival check.
All right, I do have a +3 on survival. Let me find a good spot to roll this. Oh, I got a dirty 19, so that's a 22.
Dirty 19.
Dirty 19.
Are you just looking for anything, or was there a specific thing you were looking for?
Anything, things I could cook with, things I might be able to use as salves or some kind of antidote.
Ooh, so herbs.
Them herbs.
Okay, I don't know the names of important herbs you might have found, but you did find a good amount of herbs. We'll say like 3 different types of herbs that do different things.
We can discuss the things the herbs do. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, it'll be regional, but we'll figure that out. And then I want you, as the day begins to darken, I want you to make a spot check.
Oh, I zoomed way too far in. Hang on. Okay. Spot check, that's only a +1. We're going to have to press F. That's a 7 on the spot check.
I'm paying my respects. Okay, you missed out on that. Now, as the nighttime starts to creep in, the sun has set. Let's switch to that. It is actually a new moon tonight. It's a clear night.
So it's bright.
And if this picture is canon, there's also a comet.
That's fun.
So it's a peaceful night, kind of chilly. I want you to make a listen check now.
We've got a 21 on listen.
That's a really good check there. I don't know much
Got
about
good
D&D,
ears.
but I think 21 is high. The things that you did not see, you now hear as you were thinking about setting up camp for the night. You do hear the sound of skittering. Skitter, skitter, skitter. It is not a good sound. And it seems like it is nearby, like perhaps you have happened upon a nest of some kind.
I'm going to go ahead and make an escape artist check to see if I can get to a place that's less inhabited by creepy crawlies.
So escape artist involves getting out of binds. So
these aren't bindy kind of bugs.
well, no, you're not tied up. Not that kind of dungeon.
It's not that kind of party.
So if you're trying to find a way to hide, you could do a spot check, I guess. On spur of the moment, that seems like your best option.
The spot checks are not coming through for me tonight. I've got a 9.
All right. Yeah, okay. I'm going to apply 2 different modifiers for 2 different parts of the spot check. You do not find any way to quickly hide, but you do become aware of what it is that you heard, which is a group of, in D&D the term is tiny, but that refers to probably aptly sized scorpions.
Would I have time to comfortably make a fire before these things descend on me?
You've got a round. 6 seconds.
I'm not that good. I cannot make a fire in 6 seconds. I'll go ahead and cast Flare.
Okay, burst of light bursts directly in front of a single creature, in this case a scorpion. They are dazzled for 1 minute unless they make a fortitude save. So what I need is your charisma modifier.
I got a 16, so I believe that's +3.
Okay, +3. So I need to save versus 13. Okay, I do not save. So one of these scorpions looks like, at the moment, 3, perhaps 6, depending on how things shake out because you had a bad spot check. One of them has become dazzled. -1 penalty on attack rolls, spot checks, and search checks. Okay, so you reverse barded them. That's useful. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. That was your surprise round because I said you had 6 seconds, and now rather than doing initiative with just one player, I'm going to go you, then all of me, and then you, and then all of me.
Okay. I am using my loot. Whichever of the dazed scorpions is closest to my, I guess, my rucksack, all my stuff. I'm going to just go ahead and brush it aside with my loot. And I cannot brush off the scorpion and grab my bag, can I?
We can treat grabbing the bag as a changing weapons action, which would be a move action, so you can.
Perfect. I'm gonna brush, I guess, however many scorpions I can hit in that range square, and then grab at my bag, and then that's my move action. So then I guess I will assess what the non-dazed scorpions are doing now.
What are the non-day scorpions doing these days? Let's find out.
These things are only me being small. These things are slightly bigger to me than most people. So I'm invested in the location of the creepy crawlies.
It just seemed like a very lifestyles of the rich and famous sort of statement. Okay, make an attack roll as you go to brush aside scorpions.
I'm attacking with my loot, correct?
Yes. Basically, there's no difference between brushing them aside and just trying to play baseball with them. Or if you like golf, then it's golf.
Okay. It's a natural 19.
Okay. That is a hit. That means I need you to roll damage for the loot.
I was about to say I probably hurt my loot. I should not have wasted a good roll on swinging my loot around.
Your unarmed is a D2, so we're gonna go with a D3. So it's a D6 divided by 2. And then add strength modifier if you've got one.
Okay, I rolled a 2 on the D6, so that's going to be a 1, and then my strength modifier is -1. So that's a 0.
I'm gonna go with there is a minimum damage you can deal that is not 0. So you're gonna deal 1 damage to this thing, and then I want you to make a strength check.
It's going to be a 9.
Okay, you have moved the tiny scorpion 1 square. Now, there was more than 1 scorpion, so I want you to do this 1 more time against the second one. So attack roll, damage, and strength check.
My attack roll is a 13.
Okay.
Damage is going to be a 1. Strength check is going to be a 14.
Okay. You did not damage it, but you did knock it back 2 squares. Now it's my turn, and 2 scorpions are upon you. One of them is crawling up your leg and attempts to claw you twice, and another one attempts to sting you after jumping in the air because that's scary.
Scary scorpions.
Scary? Oh, it's so scary. Let's see. Okay. Not scary at all. 2 nat force. Alright then. Now the other 2 scorpions that you knocked to the ground, the one that took damage is dazed for a turn. The other one does close the distance between the 2 of you and attempts 2 claw attacks. Oh, it's so bad. I'm rolling so bad. It's your
fine.
turn.
I'll allow it.
It's your turn, Fatty.
Okay, I'm gonna make an attempt to put some distance between myself and these scorpions.
It's a good idea.
I'm somewhere between Smithane and the Badland and Trapper's Camp, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, and which direction is Trapper's Camp?
Trapper's Camp is to the east.
Okay, so I am going to I'm gonna go ahead and try to move and cast Daze 1 more time. Yeah, I should have enough to cast Daze again.
Yeah,
oh wait,
it's
not
only
Daze,
half.
it's Flare.
Yeah, it's 1.5 mana to do it, so I think you should be fine.
Yes, so I'm gonna go ahead and cast Flare again.
Okay, I saved. Or rather, the scorpion did. Fortunately for you, the scorpion who would have struck you in an attack of opportunity as you fled was not able to hit because of the flare you cast previous round.
Okay, cool.
They all took a swing at you, poorly, and you are now fleeing. I believe there is a run action that you can take. Yes, running is a full round action, so you won't be able to run this round, meaning like running faster than your movement speed. But I will
Right.
chalk you down as doing your movement speed, which I believe is 20 feet.
Yes, base speed is 20.
Okay. As a result of that, I believe the Scorpions will be able to pursue you for this round. But after this round, if you do a full round action, you are able to move 4 times your speed. And then
Yes, I like that.
it's a full round action, so you'll be doing 120 feet in a matter of 6 seconds. Which is pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah, we take those for sure.
Yeah. So you've begun the fleeing. I'll get you a medication for that, and then the Scorpions are going to pursue. 2 of them... Two of them will be able to attempt an attack on you because of positioning. One of them does actually strike you with its claws. Dealing... Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Oh boy.
2 points of damage. Wait, no. Worse than that. 1 point of damage.
Oh no. Well, that is roughly 9% of my health.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's even because you hurt that one for 1 point of damage. This is the most exciting
for an
battle ever. I believe we're at the point where you're going to attempt your run action, so I'm going to do 2 AOOs, and they both miss. So no opportunity attacks have struck you. And you are now sprinting so fast.
Natural sprinters, halflings are.
There are more Scorpions coming out of the ground right now. It's the best thing ever. And actually, 2 of them attempt an attack on you, and one of them actually succeeds and deals 1 point of damage. I don't even need to roll.
Ouch.
It's always going to be minimum. But
Okay, that leaves me at 9.
that was a stinger attack. So we're gonna deal with some poison real quick.
We don't like that.
Yup. Make a fortitude save.
We got a 15 plus 2, 17.
Dang it, you saved, so you did not take constitution damage.
Yes.
So I'm imagining at this point of the combat, the plan is run until you no longer have Scorpions chasing you. Is that accurate?
That is the plan, Mr. Dungeon Master. We're gonna run.
I'm such a good DM.
We're gonna play, Steve.
Well, I'm going to roll a few more attacks on you as you continue your full round actions. And the Scorpions just didn't do well today. It was a bad showing for the Badlands Scorpions.
They must not like the new moon.
Badlands fan.
Oh, and for the record, when I was casting Flare, I was playing Ring of Fire on my lute.
Oh, I like it.
Just for flavor.
How much did... Fredegar knows that won't catch them on fire, right?
I mean, yes, it's... I wasn't going to split the hairs between Flare and Fire.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
Fredegar couldn't think of a song with Flare in the title.
Song with Flare in the title. This is worth my time.
Who can Google it first?
I'm going to surprise you with my answer. Oh, how about the Rolling Stones? Dead Flares.
Yes, that is in genre.
Dead Flowers. Oh wait, that's Flower. Never mind. That's the mood I'm in this week, Logan. It's been a week. So pardon the
I hear ya.
puns.
I hear you.
All that to say, after a good half hour, you are confident that there is no more danger of Scorpions. It could have been sooner, but you went for the full half hour.
Yeah, I wasn't taking any chances.
It is now time to set up camp. Fortunately, that is not a problem for you, being a halfling and all, from being part of a tribe and all of that. So we're going to fast forward now to early morning, really early morning. You've gotten your night's rest. You've regained that hit point that you lost. One
All
of
the way
them.
back. Oh yeah, I did lose 2, didn't I?
Yeah, I forgot about that other one.
Well, that puts me at an even 10. I'm not sure I want that other point back.
Oh, okay.
10 is kosher.
I'll keep that in mind, that you'll stay at 10 for the rest of this campaign.
That's my what was it that Frodo got stabbed with at Weathertop?
The Morgul Blade.
That's my Morgul Blade damage.
I just admitted that I know that. All that to say that I need a spot check or a listen check from you, not both.
I get 18 if it's a listen check, so we're gonna listen.
Okay. You are aware, as it is time to tear down the camp, that there are people approaching said camp. And the interesting thing is, they don't seem to want you to hear them.
About how close would I say they are?
You would say that they are at least 30 feet away.
Am I in an open area? I guess this would be Badlands, so yes, I'm in an open area.
It's pretty much wide open. You were going to put this back. This is closer to what we have. But you had your camp, and maybe like there was a bit of hill around you to obscure you a little bit, but you can still hear there are people coming, and it wasn't necessarily a secret you had a camp set up.
I'm gonna go ahead and try to hide just to obscure myself a little bit, so that if they were to come towards my camp, I might be able to figure out a little bit more about their motives before I decide whether or not I want them to see me or not.
Sure, yeah.
It's gonna be a 12 plus 7, 19.
Nice. Well, I'm going to make the obligatory opposed rolls real quick. Okay. You are hiding in some way near the camp. Maybe like some brush or something that you are laying inside of. And then shortly there is a group of 3 people walking into the camp. Four people walking into the camp. And all you hear are voices, and you can kind of see their feet. And the leader of the group is saying that they need to look around and make sure that the owner of these belongings is not still around. So there's some people walking around. 2 of them are very crony sounding, like yes boss, and he ain't here. Whoever he is, he must have just jet off. Whereas the 4th voice is saying things like, well, maybe we don't need to be bothering them. Maybe they'll be coming back. Maybe it's more than one person. That sort of thing. But so far you have not been spotted.
You said they sound kind of like cronies. Do they seem...
Your understanding, do a sense motive to sort of suss all of it out.
I don't think I'm going to ever use another dice again. This one's actually not doing so bad. I got an 17 plus 1. That's an 18.
Okay. From this minute or 2 minutes of conversation and communication, you can kind of guess that there's a leader, that the other 3 work for this leader, and that of those 3 that work for the leader, one of them maybe is not part of the main group is sort of someone who has joined them for a certain amount of time, but is not always agreeing with what he's being told. He's trying to act as a voice of reason in the situation.
Okay.
Whereas the other two seem very much, yes, boss, we'll do what you say, boss, sort of people, like they've been with him for a while.
Is my loot one of the things that happens to be not in my possession at the moment?
That's a good question. I'm going to say that it is currently in the camp.
That's the only thing I'm really concerned with them seeing. I'm going to use Mage Hand and pull something down over my loot so that it's not exposed. Well, I guess if they wanted to find it, they could just ransack the place. But I'm gonna Mage Hand and just move something enough to make my loot just a little more inconspicuous.
Let's use your stealthy sensitivities and have you roll a hide check to see if you can do it without being spotted. Without your actions being spotted.
That's a 2, so 9. That's a 9 on my hide check. I'm gonna switch dice now.
I will oppose that roll. You are moving the sleeping bag towards the loot, so you can sort of cover it up in a crumpled ball. Unfortunately, the moment the sleeping bag starts to move towards the loot, one of the employees of the boss person turns and says, "Oi! That sleeping bag's moving." At that point, the boss of the group says, "Everyone stop." And he stands and he points at the sleeping bag. And and you can't really tell what facial expressions are going on or anything like that, but he's right next to the sleeping bag. He's not saying anything for a second. And he says, "Fan out, there's magic in this camp." And then one of the cronies turns to the sleeping bag and says, "Don't you move." They are now searching the camp for you. So I'll make another hide check. Or I guess I could oppose the one you've made. What did you get before?
I believe my first one was a 19.
Okay, I'm opposing that 19. Okay, they are searching. They have not found you. We will do another round of deadly hide and seek. Or is it sardines?
It might be sardines.
Well, in this round of sardines, someone found you.
Well, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Well, if it were hide, isn't that the one where you have to hide with the person when you find them?
Yes.
So maybe he'll just hide with me.
Your little spoon.
Perfect.
Yeah, one of the cronies found you. And he says, "Oi, there's someone dead in the brush."
I'm going to bluff and tell them that I was just having a nap. This is how halflings like to rest during the afternoon.
Oh boy.
That's a natural 20, and I've got +6.
Well, naturally now they believe you. There's a pause. At this point, you can sort of see anyone who's nearby as opposed to just seeing their feet. You can see that 3 of them are wearing distinguishing reddish-brown leather armor. One of them is wearing a cape of some kind, maybe a cloak, that you can't really see if there's any sort of emblem on it or anything. And then the fourth is just wearing regular trapper's clothes. And they all sort of, like, the two cronies sort of nod like, oh, halflings nap in the brush. And then the other two don't seem impressed. So the leader of the group says, well, I hope that we didn't disturb your nap.
I'm going to try to remain amicable. I am suspicious, but I don't want them to think that I'm suspicious. I'm going to introduce myself with a fake name and ask what brings them. I'll introduce myself as Fatty. Nice halfling name, but my name's Fatty. And I'm not going to tell them I'm a courier because then they're going to want my mail. Well, I'm just a nomadic halfling. And what brings you to my camp here in the Badlands?
The leader takes a moment to think about what you've said. By this point, I am assuming you're no longer laying in the brush.
I have rolled out of the brush. I'll even perform a tumble check if you like.
Otherwise, I'm imagining the most awkward conversation where you're laying in the brush without having moved from your hiding position, having this whole conversation. The leader says, my business is the Badlands, and it is my job to ensure the safety of travelers in the Badlands. So naturally, we came to investigate your camp.
Oh, well, I hope you can see that the only thing here is just a hobbit, or a halfling, sorry, copyright, is a... Don't sue us! All you can see here is a halfling just traveling across the plains today.
He thinks for a moment, because he hasn't seen that yet. And he says, very well. In order to travel through the Badlands, it is a very dangerous place. There are all kinds of hazards one might encounter in the Badlands, such as wildlife, scorpions, wolves, ne'er-do-wells. See, I said it right that time. Things of that nature that do require my attention, as it is my responsibility to keep the travelers in Badlands safe. So you can never be too careful.
Well, then I'll consider myself lucky that you happened upon my camp this afternoon.
It's morning.
This morning.
Yes, luck. It is your fortune that we happened upon you. Now, I must request some recompense, because in order to continue with our venture of making the Badlands safe, we do require funding. That is to keep ourselves well outfitted. There's upkeep to the hazards that we must face. Armor, weapons, food, if we need to bandage wounds from protecting someone in need, that sort of thing. We do need some sort of payment from anyone who travels through.
Now, I have 66 gold pieces, but I do not...
Now, are you telling me that, or are you telling him that?
Well, I'm telling you that. I can tell that these guys are thugs, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I do not want to give my money to thugs, and I'm not even sure if 66 gold pieces would get me there. So, I'm going to... Since this is the same encounter, can I keep my bluff check?
Your what check? Oh, yeah, the bluff check.
My 26 bluff check.
Make another one at a +2.
All right, that was an 18.
All right, then. Keep that
So,
die.
well, +2 and then +6. So we're back at a 26.
Yeah, and what's the bluff?
That I'm just a simple traveler, sometimes a musician if pubs will have me, and I don't happen to have any gold on me, but I could play them a song for their troubles.
What do you have in that pack? His demeanor has changed from faux nicety to what are you going to give us in a heartbeat. Like he was running for election or something.
Let's see, what else do I have in my pack? I guess the only thing of value I would have would be my rations.
Is it just the basic things? Rations, water skin, that sort of thing?
One day's trail rations, backpack with a water skin, my bedroll, flint and steel, 3 torches, and my crossbow. Well, and my loot, but...
And then what is the bluff was you don't have any money. So then he asked what's in your pack, and so you can ride that bluff if you want to with a +5 on another one, because you've been getting more and more successful bluff checks. If you want to bluff them on that as well.
Okay. So +5 on this one?
Yes.
That's a 19. I have switched dice because I'm like, I can't keep on this roll forever. So this is a 19 +5 +6. So that's a 30 on bluff.
What do you want to force them to believe?
Really, all I have going for me of value that would be of any value to them would be my rations. That I would be happy to contribute to the protection effort for the Badlands.
Yes.
I'm still trying to be polite.
It's a heck of a bluff with that 31 or 30 that you have. And because they had their attention drawn to you, they never really took notice of your face-down loot. So if you were lucky, they will neither notice it nor step on it on accident like my son does everything in my house.
Oh my gosh.
In which case, they now fully believe the only thing you have to offer is rations, and they are all too happy to accept those rations. The 4th member, as I keep referring to him, who is not in the uniform, as it were,
He's
says,
in the trapper.
Do what?
He's the one in the regular trapper gear.
Yeah, he seems like a trapper of some kind. He says, this doesn't feel right, taking the man's food.
Oh, I'm a forager by nature, so I can definitely come upon things for myself if it helps the effort.
The leader sneers and says, perhaps in the future we could make use of you then. Meanwhile,
I'd prefer to be used by such upstanding individuals.
He almost smiles, and then the 2 cronies come over with their hands out waiting for rations.
Now, it's not much. I only had enough for myself for about another day, and everyone knows the big folk eat much more than halflings, so it's not much, but hopefully it gets you a little further along in your travels today.
One of the cronies says, I can eat a lot. The other one says, I know. So that is basically the end of your encounter with them, because the leader is kind of angry at you for not having anything else to give him. One of those thanks for nothing jerk sort of situations where you didn't even owe them anything to begin with. He then directs all of them to leave. The trapper of the group turns to you and sort of shrugs in an apologetic way.
I go ahead and give him a face that I definitely know what that was and try to show a little bit of solidarity.
So, like, pound the chest twice with a fist and do a peace sign?
Exactly. Or like a good shaka, brah.
Hey, Boomer. Okay, that is that particular, well, I guess we'll call that an encounter. Now, it is less than half a day to Trapper's Camp, and you will need to forage to replace the rations, so make a survival check.
Real confused when I saw forgery. I was like,
Foragery?
it's been a long week.
Yeah, it has. I didn't even stream this week.
We got a 16 plus 1 on survival.
You are able to find whatever you're looking for, so you are eating well for the day. The things that hobbits typically halflings, don't sue me,
Whoops.
typically look for as they are traveling around in their little camps. So it is not long before you are now in Trapper's Camp. You have never been here before. So how do we approach walking into Trapper's Camp? If you do not recall the description from episode 1, this is not a walled town. It is just a collection of buildings with various roads that lead to the center of the town where there is a well, there are various businesses and domiciles, and a large meeting house in the middle.
All right. We're going to say my survival check was successful, but I was only able to find things like some hardy roots and maybe some cactus fruit. So I'm going to see if maybe there's somewhere where I can restock on rations.
Okay. There are several stores that look like they could be a general store.
Most of the buildings around here are pretty shabby, right?
Yeah, they're pretty much what we've got on the stream is lots of wooden buildings with thatched roofs, and they're not very well upkept and very weathered from being in a sun-scorched area.
I'll go ahead and make for the one that seems just a little less foul than the others.
Yes, you have happened upon the general store. What a puzzle.
The marginally nicer looking building.
Yes. The man inside says, "Everything's for sale, my friend."
I encountered some, I shift my eyes about the room. Some ne'er-do-wells out of the Badlands, but I seem to have lost my rations. Would you happen to have anything that might keep me going for another 2 or 3 days on the road?
Kind of sighs for a second.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. There, that was the
Yes,
sigh.
I love it. I just had to get the feeling.
Right. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Yes, I believe I have some. Not many, though. Most people tend to create their own out here. He seems sympathetic.
I wouldn't require much, just enough to fill a halfling's stomach a time or two.
He is able to sell you 3 days worth of rations.
All right, how much do I owe him?
A gold piece each. He says, "Don't see your kind out here that often."
Well, usually our tribes don't make it this far out. We try to stay where there's more vegetation and room for us to forage, but uh, just trying to get out and see more of the world.
Oh, okay.
I give him 3 more gold pieces for his trouble.
He kind of blinks at you for a second and then says, "Thank you, sir."
You didn't get it from me.
He doesn't get it for a second, and then he nods with almost a wink.
I want to kind of give off the air that I'm trying to be polite and I'm not trying to assume too much, but after my encounter with the ruffians, I think I kind of know what's going on here.
Yes. As you were walking out of the general store, make a spot check.
Let's see. Spot. It's going to be a 15 on the spot check.
Okay. There seems to be a group of people, looks like maybe 2 or 3 people, walking across the road that resemble the people that you met the other day, earlier this morning.
I definitely do not want to be spotted by them, so I'm going to try to conceal myself. Really, you said about half the day has gone by, right?
Yes.
So it's dusk. It's not dark, but it's not necessarily bright.
It's mid-afternoon.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna pull my hood up, but a halfling in the area, that's not gonna do much for me. Is it mostly humanoids, or are there some gnomes or dwarves around that I might be able to blend in with a little bit?
It seems to be mostly human. You might reasonably expect to see maybe a gnome or a dwarf, maybe even a half-elf. You're the only halfling you've seen.
I am gonna reposition my loot under my cloak, pull my hood up, and then just try to stay towards, maybe up against the buildings as I walk through town a little more. Try to put keep some distance between me and them.
Sure. I want you to make a disguise check, I think would go along with the plan you're doing right now.
Right, I was trying to decide between hide and disguise.
Well, once you pick one, then I will make it a post roll.
I've got more ranks in disguise, so I'll go ahead and make a disguise check.
So constructing the disguise check will be, I believe, intelligence-based. And then using the disguise is charisma.
Okay, I'm just +1 on my intelligence. Y'all, okay, that's a 20. 21.
Which thing? On making the disguise?
Yes, my intelligence check.
Well, the only thing you can disguise yourself as is either another halfling or a child. Like a human child.
And being a trapper's camp, I don't suppose there's children around.
You make a spot check, I'll tell you if you've noticed children.
Got a 17 on spot.
You think that at some point when you came into town, you did notice 2 children running with a dog.
Okay, I'll go for the child disguise. I don't have any facial hair, so that's not gonna
Right, it's a
trouble
pretty
me at all.
decent disguise then, with the 20. Now, I will need you to roll to act the part with charisma.
Okay, 15. +3, +2. That's gonna be a dirty 20.
Can I borrow your dice?
It's this silver and orange one. My blue one quit rolling well, so this orange and silver one is really killing it.
So you're playing the role of a child walking through town, but after a few minutes, the group that you're trying to avoid turns. It is 3 people. The trapper is not with them anymore. 2 of them
Perfect.
immediately point and say, "Hey, that's the halfling." And the leader is still upset with you for not being able to give them anything more than food.
I don't want to cause a scene, and I know that I can't outrun them, so I will greet them politely.
What is the
This is
greeting? I
not-
want to know.
Well, hello again, good travelers.
The leader goes, "Huh. And what are you doing here?"
I was coming through to see if there were any pubs or taverns or good inns that might need a musician or a minstrel or 2 for the evening.
To make up for all the money you don't have.
Everyone has to make a living somehow.
Bluff.
Okay, the purple and gold dice is killing it too. That's a 22.
Okay.
I really put my ranks in all the charisma stuff.
I can make a recommendation.
Well, we're just loading up on the good deeds today, aren't we?
Roll charisma.
14.
The sarcasm is successfully going over his head. He nods and says, "Indeed. I recommend that one." And he points at a somewhat run-down tavern. Your talents are no doubt suited for that establishment. And when you see where they are going, they're actually headed towards a really nice one.
I smile and bow. Thank you for the recommendations. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to repay the kindness you've shown me today.
They just turn their heads up in Dr. Evil style and start laughing at you, and then go into the good tavern.
Can I use Mage Hand to trip the boss?
One magical unattended object weighing up to 5 feet, so it wouldn't work.
Right, a boot is not unattended when it is on a foot. That's rule 1 of Mage Hand.
What's rule 2?
Gloves are also not unattended.
It's a good roll. So what are you doing instead?
I'll go ahead and make my way towards the seedier tavern. I just spent the night on the floor outrunning scorpions, so
Okay,
beggars can't
make
be
a
choosers.
listen check concerning when they were leaving you.
That's only going to be a
12, you said?
7 plus 5, if my math is right.
Okay. And I ask because I was wanting to know what you were doing sort of in the moment, so before I asked for the listen check. But as they were going in, you heard them insulting the abilities of hobbits to make good music. Just letting you know that.
Halflings.
Halflings, don't sue me.
I know that it's not wise of me to get into an altercation So I'll go ahead and just shrug it off as a sticks and stones moment.
Okay. So you're headed to the Seedy Tavern. Let's see. I'm gonna ask you to make a few rolls for me,
Perfect.
and then we're gonna go through.
Dice.
It's gonna be like Mad Lib style, okay?
Perfect.
So you're gonna make a few rolls for me, and then we're gonna play through the scenario here. So I want you to make three perform checks. And then write those down or record them in some way.
This is another one that I have trained really high.
Once you've made
All right,
that,
I've got
I
'em.
want you to make a listen check and a spot check. And a reflex save.
Okay, just a second. I only have 5 d20s. Let me write this down. Then you said a listen and a reflex save.
Listen, spot, and reflex. And then I may not use this one, but make a fortitude save as well. You come into the Seedy Tavern. As you look around, you see it's somewhat lively considering we're heading into early evening at this point. Sun's still up. It's still the shadows are getting longer. There are various tables with groups chatting while they partake of their drink. There's a table where there's a game of chance occurring, and then there are various empty tables. There are a good handful of empty tables towards a corner of the room, and then there is a elderly man who is tending bar.
I'll go ahead and approach the bartender.
How do, stranger?
Good afternoon, good barkeep.
You can call me Smith.
Smith, I am but a lowly halfling making a trek of adventure when I happened upon your town. It seems like a quaint little area. I've been and was wondering if you needed a performer for this evening.
He looks around. Why not? Sure, this'll be fun. And he points at the corner where no one's sitting and says, "Make yourself at home."
I'll head over to the corner and find a good spot where I can set my travel pack, where I can kind of stand in front of it.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? Oh, you said it's a pretty lively area, right?
Considering it's early evening, it's pretty lively. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 dozen people.
Yeah, I'll just sit down, pull out my lute, and start playing quiet. It doesn't necessarily matter what I'm performing. I'm just basically trying to drum up attention at the moment. Perfect.
Now I want to know what your first perform check was.
First perform check is going to be a 16.
Okay. It's going well, but it doesn't seem like anyone's really paying attention. Make your second check. No, tell me what your second one was.
The second one was a 25.
Nice. What was your listen check?
My listen was one of the nat 20s. It comes out to a 25.
Okay. There was a person approaching you while you were playing out of the corner of your eye that you heard clearly and were able to be aware of. So the spot check wasn't important. Who seemed to be trying to approach you without you knowing.
I'll go ahead and so my second better than my first, correct?
Yes.
It's reasonable that I have the attention of most of the people in the tavern.
Some of them have actually started to listen to you now. It's clear from the clientele they're not used to having live music. Or, well, music.
Okay, I'll go ahead and be my third performance. I'll go ahead and address the pub just so that I can acknowledge the person trying to approach me.
Okay.
And so they know that I have seen them.
Yes.
But not in a confrontational way.
All right.
I'll just say something like, "Good evening, good pub goers. Thank you for welcoming me to your establishment this evening, and I hope that my humble music is appropriate background music to your socializing."
Maybe two people turn and look at you. One of them gives you a...
We love the drunken slow claps.
The person who is approaching you immediately is very concerned with whether the chair next to him is straight, and then turns and leaves.
Did I get a good look at his face?
You've never seen him before. He was kind of a nondescript, probably human, trying to obscure his face.
Um,
Do you want to do like a sense motive, perhaps?
yeah, I'll go ahead and sense motive.
Okay.
I don't know if I can move that I've. We got a 16 on sense.
He was probably going to sneak around and try to steal try to find where you keep your money and steal it. You caught him, so he ran off.
Okay. I guess we can handle that.
So now, what was your last perform check?
My last perform check was a 23.
Okay. A few more people are going, not bad. Now, are you gonna shut up?
I take the hint and I will stop playing.
Drunken man approaches you and says, "You're really good with that thing."
Well, thank you, kind sir.
He's thinking of what else he was going to say.
I will wait an acceptable amount of time for him to say something, and if he doesn't say anything else, I will turn back to my pack and start to gather my things.
He says, "It's really rude not to talk to someone who's talking to you."
Oh, did he? You? I might have cut out.
No, he didn't say anything. He just said that the music was good on whatever it was you were playing, and then stood there.
Oh, I thank him for his compliment.
What words do you say exactly?
Just something like, Kind sir, it's hard to find people who appreciate the halfling tunes.
He takes that as an insult. And he says, let no halfling talk to me like that. And he chucks a bottle at you. What's your reflex save?
It's a 16.
Okay, you dodge it like Neo. So no fortitude save needed.
Sweet. It was a nat 20, but
Because it was
it
not
was my
booze.
other nat 20.
So with that, I guess you're taking your leave? Because
Yeah.
he's not even trying to fight you at this point. He chucked it, and now he's forgotten what's going on.
Yeah, there's not any chance that I might have garnered some tips from my performances, is there?
Yes, actually. You got
Sweet.
5 copper pieces and a silver. Very well could have been that bit of money that the guy who took his leave earlier was trying to get, for all we know.
You saw the tip jar. You said 5 copper pieces, 1 silver piece?
Yes.
All right. That's on.
So now the
On
guy
my
who
way out-
chucked the bottle at you is like going back to his business as if it never happened.
I'll go ahead and politely nod towards the barkeep on my way out the door.
Smith is very amused because he expected this sort of thing to happen, and he's sort of chuckling at himself. So he very politely raises his eyebrows and gives you a little wave.
I'm gonna go ahead and make my way over to the Good Tavern.
I just want to say that went so well because you keep rolling so high.
I know, I'm like, is this fun because I'm rolling high, or is it not fun because I'm rolling high?
I don't really care, honestly. I've got my ways to make things happen despite how you roll.
Right, yeah. You've got the Deus Ex for whatever you want to happen.
Sure, but it happens much nicer for you than most people.
It's kind of
don't get
usually how
robbed.
it goes.
You don't get robbed 3 times in a row.
I was about to say, I think the bluffs is what saved me. I'm gonna head across to the Good Tavern, and before I walk inside, are there any windows?
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and just try to take a peek in one of these windows to see if the ruffians are still in there.
Okay, it's exactly as I described it last episode to Tristan's character,
This is the Good
from
Tavern,
exactly the same vantage point. It is one of those taverns that wants to look nice so they can charge more. But if you hold it up against an actual nice tavern in an actual civilized town, it just doesn't hold up. Prices are probably pretty close, though. And a lot of the tables look like they've got tattered tablecloths or somewhat nice tablecloths on them, like cover the blemishes. A few of the tables are kind of crooked. There's a game of Three Dragon Ante going on in the center of the room. And most of the tables are full, and then there are people in various areas having loud or quiet conversations across the entire tavern area of the inn. And then there is a boisterous half-elf woman in her middle-agedness at the bar who occasionally will come out from the bar, bop someone on the head, and tell them to shut up.
Are my friends from earlier still in this inn?
Yes, you are quote-unquote friends.
Yeah, quote-unquote friends.
It does appear that they are all 3 here. The leader of the group appears to be playing the card game, and the other 2 are just having a chat with themselves and occasionally going to get another drink.
Can I slip in maybe without them noticing? Is the leader's back turned to me by any chance?
Make a hide check.
It's 11 plus... 11 plus 7, I got an 18. I think it's just that I have the right things trained and put ranks in them.
You were very hidey hide.
Yeah, I think later on when I have to roll for things that matter, it may not go so well.
They are making their opposed roll. Boop, boop, boop. And what did you get again? A 19?
Hide. An 18.
Okay. Sense motive from you.
Oof. Okay. Sense motive. That's just gonna come out to a 9.
It's good enough. One of the
I was about
cronies.
to say their motive is probably pretty clear.
Yeah, one of the cronies is doing a bad job hiding the fact that he saw you come in the door. But the other two did not notice you.
So, the two cronies are at the bar, correct?
They are They are going back and forth between the bar and a table next to the card game.
I'll go and sit at. I'll leave my hood pulled up and I'll go and sit at the other end of the bar.
Okay. The half-elf woman who runs the establishment says, "What can I get you, sweetie?"
I'm gonna slide 3 gold pieces across the bar.
You have her attention, complete and undivided.
I tell her I would like a pint and whatever she can tell me about a looking man playing cards.
Okay, say that again.
I ask her for a pint of ale and whatever information she can give me about the surly looking guy playing cards.
Okay, the following conversation will be in hushed tones, but she says, "You mean Alpheus? That's Alpheus over there."
Who is he?
Have you met him?
Just a few times.
Just a few times, you say, and I take it those were not good encounters.
I wouldn't classify them as pleasant, but it's not many pleasant people you run into in the Badlands nowadays.
I'm going to pretend to be hurt by that remark.
Of the cop that I earned in the other tavern and say, I hope this makes up for the remark. And I, with a wink.
She laughs softly and says, "That's Alpheus. In case you did not know, he sort of runs the area. Yes, we have foremen that are in charge of the camp and all of that, but Alpheus has sort of set himself up as what we will call a fixture over the past 6 or so months. And it's not my place to comment on whether things are better or worse here because I like having business, but I will say he has not made many friends."
I see. Do you know where he came from?
She shrugs.
I said he carries himself with a bit more gusto than you see in typical trappers.
Well, he ain't no trapper, I can tell you that. The moment he came into town, he already had his plan. He got some sort of documentation, something, lets him do what he wants around here.
So he's a diplomat.
She pats you on the shoulder. "Bless you."
I get the joke. The joke.
Yes, the joke is he's not a nice person.
He's not a very dignified diplomat.
She presses a little bit more into the conversation. She says, "I hope they haven't given you too much trouble, young man."
Not more than I can handle. Not yet, anyways.
"Not yet." She's not pleased with the idea that you intend to have more encounters with them.
Don't intend, but I may have to before I can get back out on the road, and I certainly would hate a bad place with, we'll say, the town's strong arm.
Well, I appreciate your heroics and all. Now, is your loot strapped to your back, or are you carrying it?
It's still strapped to my back.
Okay. She notices the loot and says, "Oh, you're a musician. Are you a bard?"
No, ma'am. Just a simple traveling minstrel of sorts.
Ah, well, feel free to play some music here. I'm sure it would anger Alpheus a little bit, and we could all have a good laugh at his expense. I'll pay you.
That does make my pointed ears perk up.
She slides the money you gave her back across the counter.
I'll take the gold piece and the copper piece and slide the other across.
What's that for?
I might be needing a room tonight.
No, you can rent a room. I'm just not that kind of woman. I'll consider it a deposit on the next 3 days. How about that?
That'd do me kindly, ma'am. Thank you.
She points to a corner that's actually not that far from Alpheus's game of cards and says, "You can take that corner over there."
Okay, I'll walk back towards the corner, and I'll go ahead and make Alpheus aware of my presence.
By what? Like loudly setting up your capo and stuff?
Loudly fumbling my capo.
Alpheus looks
I'll-
up from his game of cards to interrupt you.
Well, I'm gonna pass by his table
Okay.
and say, "My money's on him." I'm a smile, and then walk back to my corner.
Make a reflex save.
Oh, I have a feeling I'm gonna need that. Reflex. That's gonna be a 14 plus 5. That's a 19. I'm just killing this.
All right. He almost falls out of his chair, and you can't tell why.
I'll go ahead and continue back to my corner.
One of the men at the table that he's playing with sort of chuckles at him. And he gets up and just decks him and continues playing. No pun intended. And the guy's just on the ground for a little bit. Rubs his jaw, gets up and sits down and says, "I hear music." Alpheus says, "Yeah, it's the midget."
Once again, I'm gonna go just shrug it off, sticks and stones, and I'll keep inconspicuously playing my lute in the corner.
Okay, gotta get the appropriate music for that.
I'll go ahead and also bank a 27 on perform check.
Perfect, I was gonna ask for that. So you are killing it, not just with the rolls today, but also your character is killing it with those perform checks as a level 1 quote-unquote minstrel. So things keep coming up roses for Fredegar, and as the night comes to a close and you are going to head to a room, there is a man sitting at a table near you who motions towards you.
I'll go at... Can I sense motive?
Sure.
What does an 8 get me?
Nothing. It doesn't get you anything.
Where in the tavern is he?
He is pretty close to where you've been playing your music. He arrived towards the end of your set, and he sat down with intent and has been listening to the music, not really making eye contact with you, but he's been watching you intently and is now motioning for you to approach his table now that you're done with your set.
Okay, I'll go ahead and approach him. I guess he may not attack me in a crowded tavern.
You wouldn't punch a man with glasses. He points at the chair next to him discreetly and says, "Have a seat. Pretend we're old friends."
I sit down, holding my lute by the neck and leaning it against my leg.
I have a proposition for you.
In a hushed tone, listening.
We can talk here, and he sort of looks at Alpheus and his crew out of the corner of his eye, or we can go elsewhere.
I suppose I'll defer to your judgment. This is your home turf.
It is indeed. And he raises his eyebrow. He seems like somewhat of import. So he leads you. He says, "You're going to follow me. Wait 1 minute. Continue getting your things together. I will say farewell to you. I will head out that door. You will meet me outside that door in 1 minute."
I'll agree to that.
So after you follow him outside, and the crew that you've been taking note of is not taking note of you, he is waiting for you outside the door and says, "Walk with me."
I walk with him.
Okay. Roleplay 101. You have a walk and talk with this man who says that he is an official of Trapper's Camp. Sorry, I'm distracted by something on my wall. It's really important. Anyway, he says that he is one of the foremen of the camp, and he is currently in need of a neutral party who is relatively unknown in the community to be his eyes and ears.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'd kind of like to stay unknown if I can. My
That's perfect.
experiences with the men at the table haven't been so kind to stay that long in town, but for eyes and ears.
All you would have to do is keep doing what you've been doing. But you would need to report to me anything that you see. After a pause, he points and says, "Or here."
I'll agree to it, but I am still a bar. If things get hairy,
Yes.
I'm out of here.
That's fine. I'm not asking you to get involved directly, although we may come to a point where I may call upon you to do so, but there is compensation involved, and if I need to add hazard pay, I will do so. As you are further away from the good tavern, he's willing to give you a little more detail. I'm not going to give you every detail because it is safer for you not to know, but I have reason to believe that one of the leaders of this encampment is out for personal gain, we will say, does not have the best interests of the camp at heart, and may actually be in league with said ne'er-do-wells.
Do I recall looking trapper with Alpheus's gang.
You recall doing what with him?
Do I recall seeing the fourth member of Alpheus's gang, the one that?
You have not seen him, no.
But I mean, I haven't seen him since the encounter at the campsite.
You are correct.
I gesture for him to continue and that I'm listening.
Okay. I am undergoing an investigation of the situation because up till now, I don't want to so much say that I've been complicit in what's been going on, as much as we will say blissfully unaware. But I have reason to believe that things are the way that I have said, but I cannot prove anything yet. So I will need you to report to me every morning and evening your findings concerning Alpheus and his various dealings, your position as the bard that he up till now pretty much ignores is going to be conducive to this situation, and I will pay you a gold piece after each meeting.
Okay, I'll agree to his offer, but I remain hesitant.
Now that said, and he hands you a gold coin, I want you to tell me everything you know about Alpheus. Now, if you are willing to do that, then I will assume that you have done it.
Yeah, I'll just relay what I got from the hammer.
Okay. Now we're going to push forward and get ourselves caught up. That will be episode 6 when we will have that happen. Next week, episode 5, we will have Fredegar helping the Druid and Ranger on a different story that's going to introduce those characters and finish their little introductory story.
Perfect.
And that is it for episode 4 concerning the halfling, which was not very concerning, but plenty of halfling. Well, that's my sign out. Logan, you got anything?
Stay classy, San Diego.